All right, well, good morning, families and students. Great to be back with you. It's NTI Day 29. It's April 23rd. That also means that it's New Work Pickup Day. So hope you've made plans today to get out to the school. Just go ahead and pull around front first and then all the way around the loop toward the back. The weather's a little iffy, so there'll be people set up back there to give you the new work packet. Also bring the old work so I can take a look at it. That's a great way. That's how I keep up with how you're doing, take attendance and make sure you're on track. Also, you can pick up a yearbook, $20 this year if you would like to do that. And we'd love if you would bring any old library books that you had. Go ahead and bring those in and take care of that today. So hope you can take care of that. Let's look at your lesson. Go ahead and grab your packet and I'm going to bring it up. We start with cursive, so that's how we're going to start today. And it starts out with a pretty interesting sentence, kind of go along with what's happening now. I miss going to school. How about that? I sure miss seeing you guys. Maybe you miss going to school and hanging out with friends. So go ahead and give some practice to your cursive there. We've got a capital I that goes all the way to the top. A few other letters of the lowercase go to the top. Most of them stay at the center line. Some hang below the baseline. So just be careful with the size of your letters. In grammar, we're talking about adjectives here today. An adjective is a word that describes another word, but these are special adjectives that compare two things or many things. So you add an ER to the word if it compares two nouns. You add an EST to the word if it compares more than two nouns. Here's the examples they give. A spider's legs are longer than an ant's. We compare the spider to the ant. That's two things. So we've got an ER on our adjective here. The second one, that is the biggest spider in the barn compared to all the other spiders. This one is the biggest, E-S-T. So just be careful with that. Let's do a few examples here. I live in the quieter house on the street. I live in the quietest house on the street. Comparing one house to all the other houses, we need to use an EST because it's more than two. The living room is the brighter room of all. The living room is the brightest room of all. Again, comparing the living room to every other room in your house, that's going to be more than two things, so we need an EST. Number three, the sun is warmer in that room than anywhere else in the house. So we're comparing how it feels in one room compared to another room. We're only comparing two rooms at a time here, so that's going to be ER. The sun is warmer in that room than anywhere else in the house. Number four, it is cooler in the attic than outside in the yard. It is coolest in the attic than outside in the yard. Comparing the attic to being outside in the yard, those are two things, so we're going to use an ER here. It is cooler in the attic than outside in the yard. So that takes care of grammar with our adjectives. We've got a couple of math pages here today. We're going to be working with number lines and partitioning. Number lines and partitioning. Well, that word partitioning means to divide, to cut apart, to separate. So that's what we're going to be doing. And don't forget with fractions, we always need this word right here, equal. We need equal parts. We need equal pieces. So we're going to look at these first two where we're actually partitioning or dividing the number line. The second page down here we're going to look at second is they give you the number line and you have to put a mark where the fraction they give you. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So again, make sure as we're doing number lines are a great thing in math that we use them for lots of different areas of math, but we're focusing on fractions here. We've got to have equal parts the best we can. We're talking about the pieces, not the cut lines. After you make the cut lines, you have to count the pieces and make sure it matches the denominator. So let's go ahead and bring that up. You take a look at your pages. I'll bring that up and get that ready. All right, so the first one says, you can look at your paper, 6 pieces we need to partition. Now don't forget that word partition means we're going to divide it into parts. We're going to divide it into parts and hopefully we're making them, you guessed it, equal. Equal matters in fractions, equal. So we need 6 pieces. Well, 6 is an even number. So I know I can go ahead and put a mark in the middle when I have an even amount of pieces. And now I have two large pieces. Well, I know 2 3s make 6. So I need to make this side into 3 and this side into 3. So when you have an even number, it's a little bit easier to start with the middle here. I'm going to make this into 3 pieces. I'm going to make this into 3 pieces. Notice I didn't just do 6 cut lines. I need 6 pieces when it's left over. So that's what I'm focused on here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I am good to go. All right, moving on to the next one. We only need 3 pieces on this one. 3 is not an even number, so I can't just put a mark in the middle, so I have to be aware of that. All right, so I need 3 pieces. So I'm going to make 2 cut marks. For 6 pieces on the last one, we made 5 cut marks. For this one, for 3 pieces, we're going to make 2 cut marks. So we've got a little pattern going on there. You need 1 less cut mark related to how many pieces you need. So we've got 3 pieces. Let's double check. We've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 pieces, so we are good to go on this one. So do the rest of that page like those. Now flip down to the second math page. The first example wants you to find a mark and put it on 0, 6. And notice we go from 0 to 1 here, and there are some marks past it. That's okay. We're only working from 0 to the whole, from 0 to 1. Now lines keep going in both directions. If we did this, 0, then 1, down here would be 2, and you keep going. If you went this way, those are negative numbers you're going to learn as you get a little bit older, but lines keep going in both directions, and so do numbers keep going in both directions. But we're going to work from 0 to 1 today, so we're going to label these. We're measuring how far from 0 this fraction is. So let's go ahead and measure, let's go ahead and label the fractions. This is the 0, 6 mark. How do we know that? It's because we've got 6 pieces between 0 and 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces, so that's our denominator. The total number goes on the bottom. 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, and the whole would be the same, 6, 6. All right, so as we take a look at that, where is the 0, 6? So it's going to be right here. So that's going to be our official answer of 0, 6. Now notice we labeled the marks. Each of the pieces would actually be 1/6. Every piece is worth 1/6. Now you don't have to do this. I just want you to be aware that all the pieces are the same size. All the pieces are 1/6 size. But the distance from 0 is how much each of these are. So if we go down here, if I do 3 of these 1/6 pieces, that's going to be 3/6. And if I do 5 of these pieces, that's going to be 5/6. So we're only working with 0, 6. We put our mark down here. Let's do one more example here. 5 is our denominator, so there are 5 pieces between the 0 and the 1. Lines keep going, but we're not using that right now. So let's label these marks from 0 to 1 using 5 as our denominator. 0 fifths, 1 fifth, 2 fifths, 3 fifths, 4 fifths, and 5 fifths. Well, that makes it a lot easier. Now I can see where is 4 fifths. 4 fifths is right here. So we take and we make our answer, we make our mark at 4 fifths. Now each of these pieces are the same, they're equal. This is a fifth, a fifth, a fifth, a fifth. And if I have 4 fifths, that's why we make that mark at 4 fifths. So finish up that work on your math, and just remember that equal pieces really do matter, and you're counting the distance from 0 on that second page. From 0 to 4 fifths, we did that example. From 0 to whatever fraction they give you is what you're actually measuring. All right, let's go back to our pages. We've got animal migration. This is a great nonfiction story here about animals that migrate or go from one part of the country to the other based on different reasons. We've got We've got animals like a caribou, penguins. We've got loggerhead turtles, monarch butterflies, California gray whales. Great, interesting article there to look over. Then we've got a couple of pages to go along with it. So what is migration? That'll tell you up there in that. So go back and find it. Fill in this chart. This side is the animal names. This side is the reason for migrating. So you've got a great table here that you need to fill in those. Go back to those paragraphs that talk about these animals, and that'll help you there. All right, and this second page, it's all about vocabulary. It's that vocabulary word there. So you've got these 8 words. So you need to go back to the story, find these 8 words, and it says highlight. You can circle or underline, but find these 8 vocabulary words. Excuse me. And then it wants you to know what they mean. So seasons, using the story, you're going to find out that that's different times of the year. That was early in it, so you would put an E here. How about caribou? Well, that's an animal from the story, and the only thing over here that talks about an animal would be this one right here, large reindeer that live near the North Pole, so F. So that gets you started on the vocabulary, and then you want to find those 8 vocabulary words in this word search down here. I'll get you started. I see ancestors right there. How about caribou? I see caribou on the 3rd line down there. So find those 8 words for a word search. Then we're going to finish up today with social studies, lesson 39. This is national government. We covered local government, then we covered state government. Now we're on to national government. It's the whole country, the country of the United States of America. So that's talking about that. You see it talks about the president and some other interesting things that go along with our country, not just our state, not just our city, but our whole country. So read over that, answer those, and then we'll finish up on help you a little bit. We've got 9 areas here. Some of them talk about cities, some of them that's local, some of them talk about state government, and some of them talk about national government. Well, I see mayor here. We have a mayor here in our town. So mayor is going to be a local government item. And then what about state? Well, our governor is the leader of a state. So we're going to put D here. We want H here for mayor. We want D here for governor for the state. And who is the leader for the whole nation, our country of the United States of America? That would be the president. So we want to put an I here. So take each of those and figure out, does it belong in the local government? Does it belong in the state government or the national government? That would be from this article today. You might want to go back a day or two and look at some of the other social studies lessons to help you along with the state and the local. All right, well, that's our lesson for today. Hope you make time for work and play and rest and being helpful to someone else. Make it a great day, Cardinals.